So you can pretty much see right here, this is your flight operations center, your remote operations center, um, the flight deck, the virtual flight deck,
Yeah.
uh, drone's location, alternate landing location, battery percentage.
Why do you call your drone Theodore?
Uh, the box is Theodore
Yeah.
and the drone is Lincoln. So those are my boys' names.
Oh, I was glad. I was hoping it wasn't Alvin.
No, but that's funny. You see that? Yeah, it's Lincoln. This demo unit became Lincoln and Theodore.
Oh, good. All right.
Um,
You're outside then, huh? Or are you in your living room?
no, I'm sitting right outside on the back deck, just to the left of the
Okay.
box screen. And you can see the drone's not on. It's gray. It's not green here. No satellite signal yet. Battery percentage. It knows the charge. So if it sits at 90%, it can be programmed to sit at 100 or 90. And then
I
there's
don't
no,
understand. Why would you set it for 90%?
just because leaving it like at the 100% versus a 90% reduces that the lifespan, like the
Will the
the
battery last longer if you don't charge it to full capacity?
right
Okay.
over a long span. If you're Most people won't ever reach like the cycle amounts that um, cause battery degradation. And even when batteries start to degrade, most of your drone users, they just recognize it as the drone flies for less. This is an old set of batteries and it flies for less. Well, how could you have prevented it from getting that degraded sooner? By managing it. And so just when it's in a box and it's in a dock and it's always plugged in, it's way easier to manage the battery. And
Okay.
so so the other thing is for public safety, when they land these drones and they want to deploy them again, they actually charge up to 90% as opposed to 100% because it takes an awful long amount of time to go from 90 to 100%.
Yeah,
Um,
because once it's at 90%, then it's trying to pack everything into smaller compartments. The
yep.
lithium
And your
ions. Yeah.
in your flight time, it's the difference between 90 and 100%, especially with batteries now. It's insignificant.
Yeah. Okay.
None of your telemetry is on because the drone's not turned on. So speed and heading, altitude is 0. Altitude relative to the ground, it's just reading as negative 3.2 because it's off and it's inside the box.
So it's 3.2 feet above the ground in the box.
In the box, essentially, the
Okay.
measurement, roughly. And so this drone line moves up and down as the drone takes off, which is really cool because it tells you how high you are above the ground, how high you are above your max altitude. The drone's programmed so it won't go above 400 feet. Like that's like hard coded.
Now, why
Um,
would you, can you change that?
you can change that. Yeah, you can go in and just like your remote controller, you know how you can manually adjust that in your remote, or you can leave it in there to like as a safety backup. And then
Right.
also the FAA wants you to have these kind of settings programmed for waivers and operational guidance.
So you had to set this, you had to program this for 400 for your waiver.
Right, right.
Okay. Yeah, and
Uh,
that's one of the things I wanted to, I want you to talk about is the waiver because this is not applicable for most people that are going to be taking this. You've got something special.
well, it is, and their organizations are going to integrate it, and so they're going to have to know what the waiver applies. Like they might not apply for the waiver, they might not be that responsible, but if they're a pilot operating under the waiver for these types of operations, they are. The waiver itself says that the operators have to essentially be familiarized with the waiver. So, very few people are like getting these waivers and doing the operations. Most organizations have people that get the waiver, acquire the equipment, and then pilots are operating under it. So
Right.
you're right. You're right. Any individual operator pilot may not be down this path yet, but for the folks that tune in and listen, that are working for a company, you know, there's a chance, or public safety agency, their department might end up getting it, and then they have to be familiar with the waiver requirements. Then you've got the box itself, which
Yeah.
is green because it's online right now. And you can
Okay.
see the box is actually getting 23 satellites.
Well,
Uh,
as far as the box is concerned, are you attached to the box with your computer, or are you Wi-Fi signal, Bluetooth? How's
no,
that?
it's all internet, and so that's a good question. What's important when you're doing remote operations, DFR, drone in a box, BV loss, is understanding your connection, monitoring the network connectivity, just like with your remote controller. And
Right.
so the drone the dock and the drone are connected just like the traditional remote and the drone. But
Okay.
the dock is connected. The dock is connected to the internet through a hardwired Ethernet, and so you can actually monitor and see your latency.
But it doesn't have to be hardwired, does it? Or it
It
does?
has 100% has to be.
Okay. And that's because of signal strength?
That's for the signal strength. You just don't want to run a dock off of a wireless. Even a good strong wireless connection, it's just not stable. Like when you're trying to stream live video and you're trying to control an aircraft, because it goes back to C2 link, command and control. Um, yeah, you're gonna see now. That doesn't mean you can't run Starlink remote. These docks get deployed remotely where you don't have ground utilities.
Right.
So
But
just
you got
because
to
you
have a good satellite strength
you
to
put
the
a star, yeah, you mount a Starlink up on a pole or something, and you can then
yeah.
feed a direct line, because every Starlink has a Wi-Fi out for hard wiring.
Hmm.
Um, so even in remote areas, there's still that solution. We've run demos off of a hockey puck. We bring the Wi-Fi puck.
Yeah.
Basically, I call it a hockey puck. We bring
Yeah.
that, and it has most of your newer hotspots, mobile hotspots, they're just very small and tiny, and they don't actually have a plug for an internet cable. And so I happen to have one that you could plug a cable into, and so that works out. But it sucks because its latency is very slow. It's not stable.
Right.
And so you really, for long-term operations, need to have this plugged in, hardwired or you have to have it hardwired.
So I'm just looking at this, man, and it's like I got 1,000 questions I can ask.
Yeah, and so then just to
Yeah.
go on, you have the box itself, which is a critical component. It has RTK signal for precision flight of the drone. It's telling you what power source it's using. It has a backup battery for like a short period of time. The
But you
box is
don't have a you don't have an antenna system out there that for the RTK, do you?
the RTK antenna is built into the box.
Okay.
So
Oh,
the
that's awesome.
box is the base station.
Okay.
Yep. So any construction site, any kind of surveying, farming, you're going to be able to pull RTK data because the drone has RTK antenna built into it.
And that's real-time kinetics, right?
Real-time kinetics, and so that's a huge advantage to the box itself. Is like if you're going to the same site over and over and you're manually driving there and setting up a drone, that takes a lot of time.
Right.
And then if you want RTK real-time data, you've got to set up the station. Well, this box is the drone in the station built in. And so you can still show up and fly it. It's just great because the drone's already there.
And so you
Um,
don't have to put any antennas out.
no,
You,
just to collect if you want to do your control points, your checkpoints,
mhm.
anytime you want to collect points physically on site, you will have to have um, some sort of on site. But for this drone to fly and collect data
Yeah.
with RTK, it's no equipment needed. You've got the temperature, so knowing what the temperature inside the box is just important for you know, operations of flight and knowing what the drone is going to be operating
Well,
potentially.
is there,
And
when I get it to about 90 to 95 degrees, I've noticed that I'll get my display unit for my iPad starts to wonk out on me. Do
yeah,
you?
the temperature of the box, it starts to the temperature will impact charging. So if it
Okay.
gets too hot, the drone can still fly and it can still open. But when a drone comes back and the box is too hot, it's not going to charge the drone for safety
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
precautions. And so each box is going to have its own independent, limitations based on manufacturer design specs, things like that.
So you're not going to be flying this in the middle of a parking lot on a 100-degree day.
Putting this thing in a blacktop area, like that would not be a good idea because you would be drawing heat to it
Right.
instead of having it like putting a green mat underneath or like most rooftops aren't black. Well, like I'm
Yeah.
thinking flat rooftops. When you think of flat rooftops, you usually see the white, you got the roof behind you, like it's blacker than, it's black shingles, but you're not putting a dock on that roof. A flat roof that you put a dock on usually has that white uh,
But those things
exterior.
weigh about
Seven.
250, huh?
This one's 75 pounds. The dock two. This one is, I think, 75 pounds, 75 pounds. The dock three is like 100 pounds. Dock one was 250 pounds. And then pretty much any other manufacturer is making like very heavy docks. And so
Right.
you see cinder blocks. You lay down that roof layment that's a padding to prevent damage and breaking of any seal, and then use cinder blocks to kind of prop these things up so they don't sit directly on rooftops.
Okay.
Or if you pour it outside, like outside at a construction site or any kind of building, you would want to pour a concrete pad, like a white, light gray concrete pad that you would then just sit the dock right on top of. Put a fence around it for security purposes.
Oh, so you're talking about if you were doing a long-term uh, mission on a piece of property, you would lay down a temporary pad. Then that way you would know exactly where you were taking off from every time.
Correct. Yeah, you pour a pad, or even if you have like a pharmaceutical, like some kind of big a high school, a college, a university. If you don't have a flat roof to put this thing on, you just find flat space and lay a nice flat level pad to just put
But
the
you would not fly this from up under a porch or under a tree.
no, no, it needs a nice good clear area around it.
Okay.
Yep. And so you also have your weather here. So it's telling you the weather on site. It's pulling the temperature. It has a rainfall sensor and then a wind gauge on it. And so you see that when we look,
Yeah.
trying to, right here, just to the left is a rain gauge. And then the camera where we're looking out of is actually the wind gauge that sticks up out of the box. And you'll see that in a second. And so now that's kind of our left-hand panel that we can scroll through and it, gives us our real-time drone information. There's a camera when the box is closed. This
What
has a
is
lot,
the RTDTDS and the GTSA?
return to docking station
Okay. So it's going
and
to go to 300 feet on its way back if you lose signal, correct?
correct,
Okay.
correct. That is correct.
All right.
Um, and then go to safe altitude. So this is like your safe altitude if it has to go to the alternate landing point. So if the box can't open, if there's a problem and the box won't open and the drone can't land back in the box, it'll go to the alternate landing point and
Which
it
would
will
be what?
at 131 feet.
So it would just
Oh,
hover at
oh,
one.
no, right next door. So there's a clear space. So every time you install a dock, you have to also assign a emergency landing point. So just like a pilot who departs from an airport, if the airport they
Yeah.
intend to go to, like it's funny, yesterday as I was flying the airplane, we took off and we said, hey, we're going to go to Johnston County Airport. Well, we're flying into Johnston County. We get on the CTAF. We're making our radio call. Hey, we're 10 miles out. We're going to land on the runway. We get a radio call back and it says, um, 720 Lima Lima, runway 23 is closed. There's a Pilatus broke down on the runway. Runway's closed until further notice. So we're like, oh well, we can't go there. Now where do we go? Well,
Yeah.
let's go to a different airport. And so that's essentially what happens is this drone leaves the dock, and if something happens to the dock in flight, drone tries to come back and the dock won't open. The drone says, all right, well, I still need to land. I can't land on the dock, so I'm going to land at my alternate landing point, which would be just a nice flat area that is,
Close by.
yeah, close by. You want it to be
Yeah.
secure, maybe on the rooftop. If you have a big
Yeah.
enough rooftop, it's just going to land on the roof, but it won't be safe and secure. So you're going to have to get to that rooftop as soon as possible in order to troubleshoot and secure your drone.
Right. Right.
And so this dock has been calibrated. Every time you put a dock in place, you have to calibrate the exact location for most systems. That's just for accuracy purposes. And you can see next door is the safe landing point. So the dock itself, and then under the dock is the safe landing location.
When you say calibrate, are you pulling the drone out and doing the dance or it?
No, calibrating the location, the GPS location. So
Mm-hmm.
you want the system to know exactly where the dock is. And once you put the dock down, you don't want to move the dock again. If you move the dock again in systems that I'm familiar with, you have to then recalibrate the position,
Okay.
which is
And
just a which is a few steps. It's just a few steps of um, using a network-based RTK, or you have to set up a GPS pole, and you use that pole in order to tell the dock this is exactly where you are.
okay.
And that's what allows it to then run RTK for the drone. So by calibrating the precise location of the dock is then able to calibrate the precise location of the drone while it's in the air.
Yeah.
Dock knows exactly where it is, and so while the drone's flying, the dock can say, hey, here's where you actually are, here's where you are. All that real-time correction.
Yep. Yep. Cool
And
beans,
so
man.
this is, essentially we're here, we're here, we're all here in this call. I'm here in North Carolina, right? um,
Yeah, I'm here in Atlanta.
Operating with this aircraft, which I am in visual line of sight of, um,
But
just
you
for
have a waiver that you could be flying this from your living room, correct? You,
correct.
you don't have to
Uh,
have line of sight.
correct.
Okay.
But for redundancy purposes, um,
Yeah, for the purpose
and
of
just,
this, you want to be in line of sight
yeah, I'm here, and then potentially we can.
because this leads into your waiver. You've got a waiver for beyond line of sight. I believe that's it's an experimental waiver. You're not going to be able to take this dock to
It's a
construction sites.
very, yeah, no, all these waivers for this BV loss, EV loss, are all based on geographical locations. There's very few companies that have blanket waivers that allow them to kind of operate just pop up wherever they want to, whenever they want to. Pretty
But
much
this is
every
basically this to
this
test you. This is to help.
Yes,
Yeah,
this is tied to a very small geographical region with very low risk and zero to no commercial, opportunity,
right.
more just for demonstration and test purposes. Um, and so you could see the location. We have our flight, our telemetry, and our data for our box and our drone. We have our live stream from our camera here. And what we're able to do is we can come in and right, go to location. So I have mission where I can, nope, not that one. demo perimeter. So a mission like this, you can kind of see in the background, it's showing up like the flight
Can you move
parameters.
that screen just a little bit? Yeah,
This
you
one I
can.
can't move right this second. I can hit, if I hit continue, you'll see it pop up.
Ah, yeah, I like that. Okay.
And so you can see ground level, you can see go to a safe uh,
Yep.
alternate altitude. You can see your flight altitude, your max altitude. And so this is giving you a nice visual profile of the flight, the flight profile. So you know that you're safe, you know that you're safe above ground, you know you're not going to bust, 107 regulations. And this shows you the perimeter. So that's one way of executing a flight. I can hit next. Once I hit next from there, this pre-populated route is loaded. And now I have to go through a checklist. So this is a checklist that most softwares, remote operation software, are going to allow you to customize this software.
Right.
Um,
So yes,
so
you've got all the permissions.
permissions, our latency is looking good. It's not red.
What does latency mean?
The the latency would be the delay or the lag between the command uh, computer where I'm operating from and then the drone and the dock itself.
So what does that mean when it says 39 to 11 kind of deal? Is that seconds? Is that nanoseconds? Is it?
That off the top of my head, I don't know and can't make up to you. I
Okay,
know
that's
from
fine.
down in the left corner, it goes by milliseconds.
Okay.
Um, The GPS has 7 satellites. The RTK on the dock is hitting 22 satellites. Safe location is configured, and then everything is healthy. So we can check all, hit next. Our environment, so it's 68 degrees. It's letting us know that the temperature is good, rainfall, no rain, and no wind. So we have the technical and then the environmental checks. And then
Yep.
zones, there's no geo zones and no geofences assigned.
Yep.
So you can check all, and once we do that, we're going to hit launch. Can you
Any
hear
way
that?
you, yeah, can you expand the screen for the launch?
So what's going to happen is you're going to see the drone's going to power on, and when the
Yeah.
drone powers on, this screen is going to pop up right here.
And so this is already pre-programmed and there
Yep.
it goes.
And so you can see the dock opening up. The drone is going to power on. See how the drone icon is now green? Drone's powered
Yeah.
on. You can see how many satellites the drone is getting. The dock
Okay.
opened up here. You're getting all the telemetry.
That's so cool.
And that has now powered up. We're turning on our live video feed. What's really neat is as the drone climbs, when we're looking in the lower uh, left, the left-hand side here, as the drone climbs, you'll notice this line moves up and down, and the ground, for some reason
So it reopened itself because you're
it
getting
doesn't,
closer to land?
well, it doesn't want to execute this mission. And so I hadn't test flown this mission since I put this back out. I did a manual flight and everything worked fine.
Oh, that's why we're
Um,
doing this. So that's
yeah.
cool.
But see, as it gets close to the ground in the left-hand side, it turns red and stuff. And
Okay.
so,
And so now the box is closing up, huh?
and then the box will just close up. And so there's geo zones and then there's no-fly zones. And so this no-fly zone is inactive. And I'll create a no-fly. This is a vacant house. It's like completely, um,
Due for demolition.
yeah, it's like, no windows. You'll see when we demo, I'll zoom in on it. We'll
But
call
it's a
it.
no-fly zone. So what does that mean?
Oh, I just made it one. It's not an actual no-fly zone.
Oh, I
In
understand.
this
So the drone won't go with inside that, or
correct. It will avoid that.
okay.
And so then let me go to missions. Here is Demo perimeter,
Okay.
edit, and relative. Save this mission. It's at 300 feet, and all those are inside the green. Then you can see the mapping mission, like the simulated mapping
Oh yeah.
mission.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Let's see if this will work now. But then also go to devices. And so here's where it gets into the weeds because you can jump into all the back end stuff. The drone, the serial number, how many gigabytes of storage there is, programming addresses, the Theodore's, the dock, and then link into the drone. So everything has its serial numbers, how much flight time it has, answer. But here you see all the back end side, the environment, the HVAC system, the power stuff. This is basically the same information that you're getting from the pilot side, just in a different display. And you can do a
Right.
lot of back end firmware updates. So all these different being able to push updates to the drone and to the dock. And then GeoZones right here is where you can see like real time, like a no-fly house.
Right.
And then we can sync these things to the drone when it's turned on. And see here, now you can see the drone's actually turned on and it just received the no-fly zone.
Okay.
And then sync status is synced, so it just synced. It turned the drone on in order to push those zones to the drone.
Okay.
And so geofencing has been synced, and the last sync was just now. So if you're an operator and you're like uploaded a new no-fly zone, you're aware of that. That's something that you're checking. You're saying, hey, I want to make sure that the most recent data, just like a pilot has the most recent aeronautical charts. And you can tell on your iPad when you last synced your ForeFlight. And then here's your dock Ethernet in millibars a second as far as latency. And
Yeah.
that number you're seeing is milliseconds. So where you were
Yeah.
asking network latency, so it's bouncing anywhere from 1 millisecond up to maybe 30 or 40, which is
And I still
nothing.
couldn't tell. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now let's try that mission again. I didn't see, I think I know what you were talking about. It looks like it opened a lot quicker.
Yeah, it
So I
did.
don't, I don't know if going in and resaving, and you can also see it says preparing for takeoff.
There it goes.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than previously. So we'll jump into the flight deck here, the cockpit. And as the drone climbs, you can see the ground gets lower. So the ground is negative, right? When you're flying, you want the ground to be negative below you. So it's a very strange way of looking at these operations,
I'm
but
not sure what you mean by negative. Oh, negative.
uh,
Okay. Never
so
mind.
right here, the ground is 300 feet below us,
Okay.
right? And our we have 100 feet of safety buffer. You like
Between
that?
us and okay, I
And
just
400. We're
okay.
at 300, which means we have a extra, safety of 100 feet, and the ground is this far below us.
Okay.
But notice that as the elevation changes, the ground actually goes lower than the dock itself.
Hmm.
And so while this dock is executing this mission,
How fast are you going?
so the drone is going about 10 miles an hour
Okay.
horizontal speed.
And how did you set the horizontal?
The speed was set in the program mission for this specific mission.
And when you did this, did you aim the drone to be horizontal capture or
Uh, cor correct.
okay.
Um, and so what I can do is in flight, take manual control of the drone. So right now I'm using up and down, left, right on the pad, and
Right.
in the top of this drone, you can see here I have. the option to choose wide angle lens, zoom lens, or a thermal lens.
Okay. And I see you got white hot on your thermal, which means what? How many different thermals do you have? Three, four screens?
So this is just like uh,
Oh, yeah.
your
Okay.
Mavic 3 Enterprise and your traditional aircraft. You can go through and select all of your various palettes. So we
Huh.
could do side by side.
There you go. So you got zoom and okay.
Correct. So understanding, that when you're programming this mission here is like not a completely refined mission, um, but
No, but
to
it's
um, show what the aircraft is capable of, and so while it's flying, uh, you have that real-time video feed. You can always bring up uh,
yeah.
your moving map. So situational awareness, you're monitoring the location of this drone. Its altitude. What's neat here is if I go into a 3D view, you can actually see um,
How high you are off the ground.
the drone's position,
Huh.
correct, relative to the ground, and then its flight track. They pause that, not pause it. We'll let it keep going, and we can hit at any point like go to location. So maybe we saw something specific. We can come down here and in the bottom center of the screen, just click on GTL. So instead of mission, just GTL. And so this is, hey, we actually saw something. We can go ahead and click here on the map.
Uh-huh.
On the left-hand side, we can set what altitude we want the drone to go to that location at.
Okay.
And we can hit launch.
And it's gonna
And it's going to
okay.
stop that drone in its track. So during its patrol, it identified something. We saw something. We can now take manual control, command that drone to fly to a specific point at a specific altitude. And once it gets there, it'll just hover.
Oh, that is cool.
And so again, this is where it becomes important to just like it's really neat how they've laid out, uh, the screen here. Um, with the flight time. So 22 minutes of flight time remaining, right? And just like your DJI remote, right? Everyone's familiar with the green bar at the top, the yellow return to docking station and low land immediately. Um, so they're favoring those items. But now here we are on station. I'm just clicking on the map, or I'm just clicking on the screen. Just double click, and I'm redirecting the the camera. I can click
Hey,
into
but you
my
have to double click on it then, right?
correct, just double clicking.
Well, zoom in on that house.
Here you can see I went to the zoom camera and now my zoom bar came up. So now I can just click.
My gosh, look at that. What do you got? 50 times on that thing?
I believe it's about 40, roughly a 42 times zoom. 40. And so you can see this is not a house that anybody's residing in. And then you got your digital zoom. So if you're a remote operator doing public safety, now I'm zooming into the screen. So the camera has a zoom, but right, your
Right.
computer has some zoom function as well. And so you can go to thermal. So if this was nighttime, you'd be able to then, uh, you know, take manual control and just using the keyboard, uh, pilot this drone uh, into the direction that you choose. And then down here, it's like if it had a parachute on it,
Yeah.
right? That's to deploy the parachute. This is to land. If I wanted to land immediately, I would hit land, right?
So it'll land in the field.
But I have to confirm it. This saying confirm an emergency,
Yeah.
right? And then stop to just stop what it's doing, right? That's the command I was looking for before is the pause or stop, and then RTD is return to docking station. Um,
Okay.
and then here you can see now I can just basically press on like this arrow, and just holding this arrow, I can command this drone to fly forward, and it's going
Is it?
miserably slow.
That's what I was asking, but it looks like it's going 11 miles an hour down below.
That's the wind speed.
The wind speed. So you're running across some wind up there then.
Uh,
Oh,
about
and
11 mile an hour wind.
you're only going 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, only
Okay.
going 2 miles an hour, but now I'm using the keyboard and I can slowly, and you can go in and kind of set those parameters so that uh, the speed's a little bit higher.
Yeah, yeah. I was I was going around a commercial building one time and I put it on point of interest and I was like, damn, it's only going 3.5 miles an hour. So I sped it up and my finger fell off the control screen. I was like, holy, I'm going to hit that tree on the backside of that building. So, so it was like holding the stick down as it went up, and I could see that I just barely missed the limbs. That's got to be what, eight,
Puke at it.
10 miles away?
Um, yeah, easily. It's all the way over here.
Whoa, that is one huge distance.
And so I like to zoom in on this over here. You've got a cell tower. That's pretty cool. But then solar panels, that's what I was saying, like to just look at thermal. Like my neighbor just put solar panels on his house.
What did you just hit? That's thermal, but so the streets are hot red.
So this is right here. At the top, you can toggle between wide angle, zoom camera, and thermal.
Yeah,
And,
but I'm
and
looking
no,
at the thermal and I'm going, okay, look at the hot spots on the houses and on the road.
the road's the hottest. And then notice this house right here,
Are those black things the
solar,
solar
the
panels?
solar panels, cold, cold, cold.
Yeah. And I
Very,
see solar
very,
panels up on a couple of other houses too.
yep, right here. They've got
Yeah.
a few panels. And this is what people are doing when they're looking at solar inspections. You're going up in evening hours. You're right, when the roofs aren't hot and the panels shouldn't be hot. You can go up kind of hard. Like, I don't know. I'm not a panel expert, but I know this is exactly what you're looking at. And so you can then zoom in just so that we're not creeping. But this is with low, imagine if the drone was right off the panel. I mean, that's incredible.
Oh yeah. How far
That's
out do you
nice.
think you are?
I can just show you the wide angle. It's there.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
And where are
thermal.
you?
Haha.
I thought that's it. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
right here.
So there it is. Hey, you got it on a pallet too, huh?
Oh yeah. Yep. And let's go ahead and
Do you leave that thing outside when it's raining?
no.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So the reason why this is here, this is our demo unit, and this thing is about a year old actually. It celebrated its year-old birthday not too long ago on April 12th. And so as soon as we got it, it was like, hey, we're gonna leave this thing outside because that's what everybody wants to know is like it's designed to sit out and sit out. And so as much as we don't want to, I don't like leaving this kind of stuff outside. It's what it's designed for. just demo unit as a reseller, and so now I just chose to keep it out as much as possible in order to be able to say to people that are going to purchase this that yeah,
Yeah.
it sat through storms and rain and um, like I said, it's very unusual. It's not something you're used to, um,
No,
but
it's not. So
but
tell
it
me how many,
does. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how much battery life do we have left in this thing?
So we still have, based on its currently descending, but 19 minutes,
Wow.
18, 16. It's going down a little. It's about 15 minutes.
And what do you like as your safety buffer on that?
So it automatically, it will not let you go below like a 20, like 20%, I think.
Okay.
Uh, and you can't kind of reset that number. It's a very solid number. Like this dock is way more secure than how you can kind of basically take your one drone and just fly it to zero.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to just continue to override this drone. It's not going to happen. So I'm just kind of throttling down here, um, just to get one more kind of close up zoom in. And so here it's automatically it hit that battery percentage, so now it's
Okay.
automatically landing. And so you can see it opens up, and then if I go here, I get both the camera on the drone and you can see the dot camera. So it's cool because you can actually see it has a little light on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so the dock will now close. It's going to spin the propellers like you've seen this thing in person, right?
Oh yeah. But I didn't have it with an M30. I had it with a Mavic 3.
That's what this one is.
It is.
This is the same one you saw, yeah,
Okay.
the dock too. And so, boom, the drone comes back, it'll power itself off, and then it'll go into that charging state.
So when it looks like it's in hell, it's charging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. The like Star Wars,
Yeah.
some kind of
Yeah,
Sith Lord.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh, and so this isn't where I'm piloting from, and this isn't what most folks look like, but this is where the industry wants to get to. The industry wants to get to full displays, full integration. You can see the dock and the drone landing. You can see your assets. You can see your map. You know what your mission is. This right here is flight base.
Oh,
So
okay.
this right here is the flight base software. So this is a DJI drone, but it's being flown by a non DJI software.
Okay.
And so you can see the batteries charging now.
Are you in danger of people? Can they steal this? Can they open that box easily? Is it,
No, you can't open the box easily, but like my backyard's fenced in, and I
Oh, no,
live
no,
in
no,
the.
no. I wasn't. I was just basically, if you were doing some field operations and you
Oh,
jumped into your tent, and a bear came, would the bear be able to rip the thing apart?
so the biggest thing is this box, man. You're not gonna want to stay near it. So it's designed so that it's secured. Um, it's got the camera on it, so you have constant camera live feed, and you can run alarms and alerts. So if the power goes off or if the box opens up and it's not supposed to, um, it basically has like built-in security.
Okay.
Uh, I gave you access, so you could probably go in and like control my screen, right?
Let me see if I. No, no, not unless I give a Google screen control. Wait, it says you can control. I'm
Yeah,
not. Yeah, I
yeah,
am controlling it, huh?
yeah. So I could let you literally do the remote piloting. Like you could hit launch, you could hit uh, uh,
Let's wait for that for another day. I think that's a cool thing. How did you give me control?
through the Zoom app. So like if you look at the bottom, it says like remote control, and you see like a little mouse.
Yeah.
Um, you can as long as they're in the Zoom app, you can let someone control your screen through the Zoom. The good news is even if the weather isn't perfectly cooperative, this thing is IP rated and it's designed, and you see videos of it, flying
Yeah.
in light rain and stuff. So it'll work out either way.
But no, man, thank you so very much. I think this is a great start. I'm really glad the technical stuff works. That was the big part. If we didn't get this working, then we were kind of screwed.
Yeah, it'll
This is
work, man.
awesome. Yeah. Hey, you're an awesome pilot. Thank you, my friend.
All right.
Anything else?
No, that's it. If you need
All
anything,
right.
let me know.
I will. I will. Thank you, buddy. We'll
Have a
be talking
happy,
soon. Huh?
yeah, have a happy Easter.
Yeah, you too. Happy Easter. Thank you so very much. I'm going to end the recording and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
All right. Bye.